Hey, welcome to Pause on Purpose. And we are right in the middle of this great week about walking wisely in the last days. And what do we mean by last days? Well, it's the last days that we think are going to occur before the Lord raptures his church. Not his second return to earth, but the rapture. And that is going to become, you can read more about that in First Thessalonians 1 4, verses 13 through 18. And we started in Mark chapter 13 on Monday about the two new parables that Jesus uses, the fig tree as well as the doorkeeper. We're now going to jump to the parallel passage to Matthew 24 and learn the third parable. The third parable is about unwise and wise servants. Now, let me read it, and then we'll make a few observations and lessons about how to walk wisely in the last days. Okay, here we go. A faithful, sensible servant, verse 45, is one to whom the master can give the responsibility of managing his other household servants and feeding them. If the master returns and finds that servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. I tell you the truth, the master will put that servant in charge of all that he owns. But what if that servant is evil and thinks, my master won't come back for a while, and begins beating the other servants, partying, and getting drunk? The master will return unannounced and unexpected, and he will cut that servant to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. In that place, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Wow, there's a lot there, isn't there? We're probably not going to get to all of it, but we're going to talk about wise and unwise servants and what happens to the wise servants and what happens to the unwise servants. The first thing I learned from this, and it's a lesson right here, that a wise servant will be rewarded. There's behavior that we do today, actions that we take today that may not make a sound on earth, but will resound throughout eternity. Don't ever underestimate the eternal impact you and I can make with today's faithfulness. Let me say that again. You can never underestimate the eternal impact with a step of faithfulness today. Beloved, don't discount that. Just because the world doesn't view it as superior and doesn't get up and applaud you, doesn't mean that Jesus Christ doesn't applaud you and will applaud you on the day he hands out his rewards. Verse 46 says, if the master returns and finds that servant's done a good job, there will be a reward. There you have it. Isn't that great? So here's the second lesson, and that is, and it's found in, here's the other part of the reward. It says, I tell you the truth, the master will put that servant in charge of all that he owns. So not only is there a reward, but here's the reward. God will give you more to do. Faithful in little, faithful in lot, right? That was just something I just saw that, thought I'd share it with you. That was for free. There's no charge for that. But here's the thing about unwise servants. Verse 48, what if that servant's evil and my master won't come back for a while? And he begins beating the other servants, partying and getting drunk. What happens to him? The master will return unannounced and will cut the servant to pieces and assign him a place with hypocrites. It's a valuable lesson here. I want you to hear me because the consequences are very severe. And that is, prophecy is it's not just about information. Let me say that again. Prophecy is not just about information or gathering information. Prophecy is about transformation. If studying the second coming of the Lord and things about the last day don't have an impact on your life, it may be a time for examination. It may be that you're just doing it for information. Ask God to give you a transformed heart. Studying prophecy needs to have an effect on our lives on a daily basis. Otherwise, how are we any different than the world? Jesus Christ expects us to change and be conformed more to his image. We don't do it on our own strength. We rely on his power, and we do it through his by understanding his word. We become students of his word, and that word getting into us transforms us. So, beloved, today be a wise servant. Be faithful in the small things, and God will reward you in the greater things. And then so go with God today because God is with you. Talk to you soon, beloved.